Next example, we're going to find the variance and standard deviation for the given data using the TI-8384 calculator. So we're using the same values that we have from the previous example. The first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and edit these numbers into the calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to open up the calculator here. Okay, and then what I always want to do is I want to clear any lists that I have before I do anything. So if I hit the second button, and then over here where the plus button right up to the left says MEM, which is memory. When you select that, you can scroll down all the way to number 4, select enter, and then select it again, and it clears the lists. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and enter this data into L1. So in order to do that, you're going to press the button stat, the stat button. And then where it says edit, you're going to hit enter. So down here you hit enter, and then you have column L1. So we're going to put these numbers into column 1. So we have 4, 10, 18, 23, and 25. So therefore those are the numbers. Okay. Now, in step 2, what we want to do is we want to be able to find the mean, and then we can either store the value of the mean or we can just use the number. So let's first find the mean. So in order to find the mean, we're going to go and then we're going to hit second and then quit so we can get to the clear screen. So here's our clear screen. And what we want to do is we want to find the sum of the value of L1, meaning what is the sum of that entire column. So if we wanted to, we can hit second and then the stat button, and then we're going to scroll over to your right to select math. And now if we go down to number 5, it gives us the sum and in the left parentheses. So we're going to hit enter. So now it's going to pull it into the screen there. And then we're going to put in L1, which is the list L1. Well, if you notice here where the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right above to the left of each of those numbers gives you the lists of the columns that we're using. So we want to look for L1, which is above the 1. So in order for us to be able to select L1, we're going to have to hit the second button and then select the 1, and then now L1 is in there. And then we're going to close the parenthesis. And then what we're going to do is we're going to divide by 5 in order to get the mean of all those numbers. So if we press enter, there is our mean, which is 16. So let me go ahead and make sure that number is correct on our screen. So the mean is 16. Okay, now the next step, in step number 3, is that we're now going to create a new column where we're going to take list 1 and then we're going to subtract the mean, which is what we got here, which is 16. So now from this screen, we're going to now go ahead and select stat again and then select edit so we can put in our list. But we want to move to L2, so we're going to scroll to the right. Now in here, the only thing we can put in this particular cell is to put in a number. What we want to do is we want to move up to the top where it says L2, and then down here it says L2 equals. So now hit enter, and now it gives you the cursor down here, so it allows you to put in any kind of information that you want for L2. Well, for L2, we want to take L1 and then subtract the sample mean, which is 16. So again, we're going to hit second and then 1 to get L1, you can see there, and then we're going to subtract the mean, which is 16. So now if you notice in the data, we get -12, -6, 2, 7, 9. So this is actually calculating everything for us. And so now in step 4, we now want to create another column, which is L3. So we're going to scroll to the right and then move up to the top, so you're highlighting L3, and then select enter so your cursor is now available down here. And what we want to do is we want to take now the column L2 and then square it. So parentheses, we're going to hit the second button in number 2 where L2 is located, and then parentheses, and then we can either use the up arrow for the exponent, or over here it says x squared. So we're going to square it so we can square all the values in L2. So we'll hit enter, and then we should get these numbers: 144, 36, 4, 49, and 81. So now that we've done that, now we can determine and find out what the variance is by using this formula. So to find the variance, what we want to do is now we want to go back to the main screen. In order to get back to the main screen, we're going to hit second and then mode, because it says quit up here, so it brings us back to the main screen. And what we want to do is we're going to take the sum of the column L3 and then divide it by 5 minus 1. So again, in order to get the sum key, we're going to hit second and then the list, and then we're going to scroll to the right and where it says math, and then we're going to go all the way down to where it says sum. And now we're going to put in column L3, which is the number 3. So we're going to hit second and then L3 and then parentheses. And then we're going to divide that by 5 minus 1. We can either put 5 minus 1 in parentheses, or we know that 5 minus 1 is going to give us 4. And so therefore, it's going to give us the value of 78.5, which is the variance for this particular problem. So now that we've found the variance, then in order for us to find the standard deviation, we can take the square root of this number. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit second, and then there's the square root symbol above the x squared. So that gives us the square root symbol. And then we want to put in 78.5. So we can put in the number 78.5, or if you hit second and then above here where it says A and S, that is the previous answer. So that means it's going to then store it as 78.5, and then you're going to select the parentheses. And now we're going to select answer and select enter, so we can figure out what that result is going to be. So therefore, when we hit enter, we get 8.8600225573. So it's approximately 8.86. If we round it to one decimal place, then it's 8.9. So what we've done is we're able to find the variance, which is 78.5, which is the symbol s squared, and then the standard deviation was taking the square root of that number, which gave us s, which is equal to 8.9. Now everything that we've done on a calculator has the instructions that are above here. So rather than going through them, you can go back and look at the options that I've done and then review the guided notes for finding the variance and standard deviation using a TI-8384 calculator.